Okay,
The meeting of the Board of Water Commissioners, Tuesday, July 26th. And purpose of today's meeting is primarily to finalize our plans for the public hearing. And we have learned that the public hearing is going to be on Thursday, August 18th at 7 p.m. And it will be a hybrid. Hopefully, it will be a hybrid meeting. That is, that it will be in person at the Adult Community Center, formerly the Senior Center, as well as via Zoom. Give the opportunity for other people to participate via Zoom if they wish to. I'd like to start out though with just an explanation. As you will recall from our last meeting, we did have a discussion regarding looking for the opinion of legal counsel regarding how we would handle people who paid into the system but hadn't connected, and how we should handle that. So we did have a call with the attorney regarding that, and I think that we came out of that feeling that the plans that we have basically established at this point regarding the plans for the rates and fees and how we would handle that with people who have already paid into the system but haven't necessarily connected is fine. Basically the outcome of that was that if somebody has paid in and has completed their payments, they would would not be have to pay a base service fee until such time that they start they've actually connected to the system. And for those people who have started to pay into the system and via a deferred payment plan and are paying into it, they would be required to continue that payment plan since it is a lien that has been established. So that would remain in place. We cannot forgive that. So that's the intention here. We would maintain those fees for those people. And anybody who's connected to the system or fully paid the connection fee up at this point, there would not be any forgiveness for any of the fees that they have paid up to this point. Or if, as I said, if they're on a deferred payment plan going forward, they would need to pay that off since it's been started.
But they wouldn't be required to pay something new on top of that, right?
No, there would be no additional.
No base payments either.
Pardon?
No base service payments.
No base service payments.
So they're getting a break.
Right.
Some break.
Well, they're still going to have to pay to have somebody make the actual physical
Yeah,
connection.
exactly.
Yeah, we can't forgive somebody else's.
So, did I get that right, Karen?
yes, sorry, I had myself muted, sorry.
Thank you. And so I would assume we can proceed with Doug's presentation at this point. Doug, unless you had any comments regarding the meeting with legal counsel.
You,
Are you muted, Doug?
No, I'm here. Did you want me to talk about your meeting with the council? Is that what you mean?
If you had any comments or.
Oh, no. No, I don't. No, I have no comments on that.
And I see that Kurt is with us now too. So,
Sorry, I'm a little late, Jim.
about that meeting?
No, I thought it went great. I don't know if he sent an email, but the conclusion was he was going to be sending a supporting email recommending that we go forward with the proposed rate structure changes, and that, he would back up those changes, from a legal standpoint, if any issues came up.
All right, so ask now if Doug, if you can carry us through the next portion of this with
Sure,
view of that PowerPoint presentation.
sure. So, Jim, I know you've seen this, and I'm not sure who else you've shared it with, but at the conclusion of the last meeting, you asked me to put together a presentation for the public hearing, just to provide a narrative and give some guidance at what you're looking to propose for the rates. So the fiscal 2023 water rates will contain a semi-annual minimum charge. Presently, there's one for those connected to the system and not connected to the system. The new rates will contain a metered water charge. Presently, you have a 5-step water rate. We're recommending that it be condensed down to 3. And then also one of the underlying or basis for the rate study was that the goal is to rely less upon the general fund contribution. And there's been a lot of discussion about eliminating the general fund contribution over the next 5 to 10 years. So those are just a few of the highlights from the study. So we have the semi-annual minimum charge here. I give a little bit about what the minimum charge is designed for. It's designed to recover the costs associated with meters, billings, collections, and other fixed costs. The minimum charge is guaranteed revenue. Presently, you have the meter method, and that means that there is one minimum charge per meter. There's a charge for those connected to the system, and there's also a minimum charge for those that have paid their connection fee but have not physically tied into the system. And I probably should make this a little more clear, so I can work on that. Beginning in 2023, the commissioners have decided they want to move to the unit method. That means that there will be one minimum per dwelling unit. Those that are not connected to the system will no longer be paying the minimum charge. That's one of the underlying, that's a large difference from the current rate structure to the new rate structure or proposed rate structure. So the semi-annual step rates, presently you have a 5-step rate, and they're broken down from 1 to 20,000 gallons. This is semi-annual, of course, 20,000 to 35, 35 and 1 to 6, 61 to 85, and over 85. Because you're such a small system, there were several steps that had very little consumption in them. So we felt it was best to combine. We're still maintaining that first step for the basic water usage. This is for basic sanitary purposes. That's for the all consumption between 1 gallon and 20,000 gallons. We then combine steps 2 and 3 into one step. So that'll be for 20,001 to 60,000 gallons. And then we combine step 4 and 5 so that all consumption over 60,000 gallons will be at the third and highest step. Move. So the proposed minimum charge, again, we're going to the unit method. one minimum charge per unit connected to 1 meter. Then I felt it was best to give some examples that people will be able to understand that a single family home will have one minimum. The main home with a detached cottage, that would be 2 minimum charges because you have 2 dwelling units. Harbor, is it Harbor Valley? Harbor Village, excuse me.
Riverside Village. I don't think we should use a specific customer there, Doug, by name. I'm not
Okay.
sure. I'm not sure that's, you can put, example or whatever, but
Okay, so
you could even more generically describe it as, example public housing, or I'm trying to think of a good way to describe
I
that.
don't want to call it a trailer park.
No,
Mobile home park, what's,
yeah,
Well,
you
but-
could use, you could use example mobile home park.
How about multi-dwelling
Yeah, or multi-dwelling
facility?
complex.
Multi-dwelling facility.
and I'll change 86 to like 35.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so mobile home with 35 units,
Multiple home.
equals 35 minimum charges. Okay, so a building with 1 meter and 3 businesses, that would be 3 minimums. A condo complex with 4 condos on a single meter would be 4 minimum charges. So just a few examples of how the unit method would work for different type of customers. Now, how the step rates would work with the number of units. So I'm going to have to change this. So to 35. Change this down here. So single family home, your first step would give you up to 20,000 gallons. That main home with the detached cottage, you have 2 units, so therefore that would be at times 20,000 gallons. That would give you 40,000 in the first step. The mobile home units, 35 units times 20,000 gives you 700,000 in that first step. 3 times 20 is 60, 4 times 20 is 80. So this just explains how the rates will be calculated and how it differs from how the rates are calculated now. Here are the fiscal 23 water rates. Pretty straightforward. The semi-annual minimum charge. Here's your connected to the system per unit rate. Paid the connection fee, but not tied in. Same amount proposed. Connected to the system, $125. Paid the connection fee, not tied in, will now be 0. Here is the present 5-step rate. Here is the proposed 3-step rate. So how do the new rates impact the customer? So somebody who uses 10, and this is all based on a 1-unit customer. Somebody who uses 20,000 gallons, they're currently paying $114.98. Their bill would increase to $153. That's an increase of $38.02. Now, as you use more, your current rates are this. the proposed rates increase, and here's the dollar increase. So even somebody who uses 100,000 gallons, they're going to see an increase of, I don't want to say only, but $153.66.
Doug, for presentation purposes, would it make sense to either characterize this as annual or, divide by 12 and kind of give people a monthly?
No. And the reason I say that is people are used to semi-annual bills, and that's what they're going to receive. So, they know they use 40,000 gallons. They can go back and look and see, okay, I paid $264.88. He says my bill's going to go to $341.50. I can expect that my bill is going to go up $76.62. If you annualize it, the increase is, now up over $153. If you divide it by 6, it only looks like about a $13, $14 increase. This is how the bill is presented, so I believe this is how it should be
I agree with you, Doug,
presented.
I would think it would be well to mention that once in a while that these are 6 months rates, because I think most people think in the units of years. So to mention that this is a 6-month rate, I think would be good.
Okay, yeah, I do have it up here, semi-annual. Do you want me to put 6 months?
No,
in
that's good. That's good.
parentheses?
No, I think that's great.
Okay, I
I
mean,
think maybe just a reminder, because there may be some sensitivity. A lot of people typically see semi-annual bills are unusual. I mean, clearly that's what we're doing, but it might be worth just re-mentioning, saying, just keep in mind, this is a 6-month bill, not an annual bill or not a monthly bill.
Good. I like it.
okay. So we can just drop that in there. So the second slide will be for the multi-unit customer. And I just, made up some consumptions over here on the left, threw in a number of different units, what they're paying under the current rate structure, what they're going to pay under the proposed rate structure. And you can see some have increases fairly significant, and some have some decreases, a few of which are fairly significant. Harborside Village, one of their readings was around 1.5 million gallons. So this is this number here, these numbers here are pretty close to what's really, what will come to, what their bill will be under the new rate.
So that 1.5 million is essentially what they were, I think, drawing down in the summer months.
Yeah, that was the summer reading from either last year or the year before. So, of course, they're not paying anything to you right now.
Right.
But, I did have to show if they were on the system, what they would be paying.
That's good.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
So, there's a significant savings there for them. Now, this 500,000, that's a winter reading. So if they were on the system, they would be paying now significantly more. So you blend these two together, and they are going to save some money.
Because the winter usage is essentially impacted more heavily by the base service fee, correct?
That is correct. It's pretty much all base service.
Right.
So, 83 times 125 is 10,375.
Right.
So, they've got $800 in water and 10,000 in minimum charge. And that was the last slide. So it's still a work in progress. I didn't add anything. I'm gonna have to add something for the service charge, but I didn't know where that stood. So I didn't want to add that, but I'll have it ready in the next week or so. I agreed we'd address it at the meeting today. So again, this is a work in progress. We can change things around as we see fit. I'm also going to put in I'll have some other slides that'll make it a little easier for people to understand what's going on.
But I think we need to be careful that we don't go into too much detail because they'll get lost in the woods.
Well, they're going to get lost in the woods anyways. So, but you know, I try to keep it as straight and as simple as possible.
Right, right.
You know, and I do a lot of bulleted points and then talk about the bulleted points.
Yeah,
And
that allows you to be flexible, yeah. Good.
yeah, and you can see there are no fancy words in here. You know, it's all presented in layman's terms. And, you know, if people pay attention, they should be able to understand what's going on. You don't have to be a water commissioner to figure this out. You know, we can explain it simply and directly, and go from there.
It looks great, Doug. I think it's
Thanks,
excellent.
Doug.
Yeah, I
it's
think, you know, it's a
fantastic.
step, it's a first step. And then there's still a lot of unknowns. And I did have a conversation with Jim last week, towards the beginning of last week. And he did look at this and we discussed a couple questions he had, made a couple changes, and I think we simplified it a little bit.
You know, one of the questions I have is, you know, dealing with the people who were involved from before, either who have prepaid or haven't completely paid. Should we have something for them that really, you know, separately indicates what the effect of them will be directly?
I don't know how we could help them.
Well, I
Actually,
think,
the attorney pretty much felt that our best strategy is to say as little as possible. You know, we're not going to change the contracts. He recommended not changing the contracts or even getting anywhere near that. Anybody that is in a current payment agreement, that those agreements would remain in effect the way they were originally contracted. And, you know, that this structure applies going forward. So his recommendation was to say as little as possible. And with regard to the rates that are being proposed, you know, these are the new proposed rates. And the same thing with the connection fees.
I think you're right.
one thing we didn't talk about, though, Kurt, was that with the new rate structure that we're proposing, if there are fees associated with that for, say, the purchase of the meter, and for inspections that are required, that we're going to be
Yeah,
charging for
we
those
should.
things. So the question is, how do we treat, are we in a position to be able to treat those people who paid the highest
Maybe.
connection fee, the 6,000, for example? Could we say that that does include the cost of the meter and the connection, the inspections that may be required?
But isn't the inspection something that should have been done all along?
Well,
Well,
if they didn't hook up, what were you gonna
Yeah,
expect?
it's when the inspections are like for when they actually make the connection.
Oh, okay.
So to review that, to have somebody come out and look at the installation.
Right. Well, would that be a way of at least giving them something?
Well, we don't have to put that on the whole general policy. We can make that a negotiated deal.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I think there's a slightly different relationship that we have with the
Yeah,
people.
oh,
in
there's
this
no doubt about
category.
it. It's clumsy,
And I
yeah.
think we need to make it clear to them.
Yeah.
This affects you, this does not. When you come on, you'll get the new rates. You will not have to pay a connection fee, whatever.
Or any of the fees associated.
Any
with
of
it.
the
Yeah,
fees
yeah, put that in.
associated with it. Something like that, that kind of, mention it, but review
Yeah,
some of the
yeah, don't go
reassurance.
into detail. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Are,
I think,
Kurt,
Jim, I
ahead.
think if in the past that the people who paid the $6,000, if their meter and the inspections were included,
Right,
I think you have to honor that.
right,
If they paid the full 6,000.
right.
But I would say for anybody who's hooking in and who is going to pay the reduced rate, then, you're going to more of an a la carte
Right.
type situation.
And I think for the purposes of the meeting, I'm not sure we want to do any kind of comparisons. I think we just put this out as our new schedule of fees.
Right.
If somebody hasn't connected or they're already in a service contract agreement, we would have to talk to them separately.
Yeah, well, we could have a separate meeting for them.
Yes.
Well,
That's good.
I think somebody's gonna ask that question, I believe, at the public hearing. So I think we need to be prepared to answer it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And it may not be a bad idea to, I'm going to put up a schedule that has, what the fee is now, 6,000. And we can put an asterisk there and just say that, that 6,000 includes the meter and the inspection fees.
So
Yeah.
the,
And
the
just
only,
and keep it as simple as that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
so the only way someone who had started out with the 6,000 and was supposed to pay, but hasn't kept up or whatever they did, the only way they can join the water system then is if they continue and pay that all up.
They have to pay it off.
Yeah,
Correct.
okay.
Yeah, I know, Katri, it's something that's bothered all of us. The attorney said, don't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Right.
Let them
He was-
sue.
He was pretty clear. Well, the rationale was, that was those people entered into a contract with the town whenever they entered into it. And it takes the form of a lien on their house and it's an agreement. So, the fact that they haven't completed the payment plan yet is, no fault of ours or anybody else's. And
Right.
going forward, when people connect, there's a different set of connection charges that are just and reasonable. And those were his terms. So doing anything else opens up a can of worms.
Right.
And then they could do separate litigation if they felt so inclined. We don't have to do it either. That's with the law.
So we are focusing on the people who live in places where they have pipes laid down, correct?
Right.
We're not looking at other areas.
No, I think that if it's, for example, we've gotten some inquiries already up in the Coles Neck Wellfield area from people that are on streets where there is no water main, but they want to know if I want to connect, could I do that?
Well, that would be a whole new,
And what we've said in the past is, well, if there's a way for you to run a connection from the water main to your property, that's at your expense. It's not at our expense.
Well, that came up a while back, right?
Within the last month or two.
Yeah, right. But I remember some mention being made of that.
Yeah.
But at some point before.
the people that haven't paid the 6,000 have to go with the new rules. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. So how many properties are there that potentially could connect with the new rules?
Well, we have, I may be overstating this, but with the curb stops that are in place now, assume that the system that we had before we did the Coles Neck, the new water main from
Mhm.
Coles Neck, we had, I believe, Karen, you can chime in if I'm wrong on this. I believe we had around 550
Unhooked
potential,
up?
potential
Wow.
connections.
Oh,
That we had
many.
curb stops for
Yeah.
550 properties,
Wow.
including the center of town, and up Summit Avenue, out around, the DPW building,
Right.
transfer station, all that. There's around 550, of which we had, this is where Karen, I want to be sure I get this correct, but that we had around 250 that have already connected to the system. And then there, go ahead.
Correct.
And then another 45 or so that were pending, that had paid a connection fee or partially paid a connection fee. So that we were somewhat under 300 out of the 550.
Okay, so they're the people,
That,
right?
okay, and we have the connection, the curb stops associated with the
The water.
the new water main. And from what I recall, that environmental partners told us, I thought there was 83 additional.
Yeah, it was
ones.
83. That's right. That sounds right, Jim.
So 550 and another 82. So it's
That's the fair amount,
630.
right? So we have to work, how do we contact all this?
Well, that's
That's another item.
yeah,
That's gonna be a mailing.
yeah, we'll do a mailing to those properties.
It could be a tough sell.
Oh, some of these
They-
people,
They're connected to water now with their own
Right.
system, and it's probably paid for.
But what we just need to let them know that, hey, you have the access to water now if you want it, and here is what our fees,
Here it will
rates
be.
and fees
Yeah.
are.
It
We're
will
gonna-
probably mostly depend on what existing water quality is. They added negative.
You couldn't use it.
We have not done that, but that's maybe something that we do need to visit before
would be
we,
depending
before
on
we do
the
this,
weather
we
each
reach
year or
out.
whatever, how that's used.
Because there have been some people that have commented on that there should be a regulation that
Regulation about it.
that doesn't allow people to connect and use it for
Yeah.
automatic watering.
Watering, yeah.
They will be surprised at how much water they
Oh, yeah.
sprinkle the lawn with, and it could exceed the amount of money that the house uses.
Oh, it does. Like,
Yeah.
we know that it happened at the school.
Yeah,
When
Yeah.
the school went on the system,
they got a
A few
bill.
years back. they got a bill for several $1,000s because they were basically watering the ball field.
It's not a problem to not water the lawn, because you can water the lawn from your existing well,
Yeah.
except it's got to be completely disconnected
Right,
from
right.
the town system.
So we do have to add all of that in the regulations.
I knew a
So
couple
that
people.
should be presented for
Do you think
the
so?
meeting. I would think so.
Because I mean, normally what would happen in the past in pipe systems or well systems is that would be something that's a order from the town that no watering or something like that. But you're right, it may be, if it's already there, if they want to say, hey, we're having trouble with the water, we'll put out just a reminder that you're not supposed to be watering lawns for the
Well, we wouldn't allow connection to
do it
a
anyway.
automated system.
Automated system, yeah.
But I know some people that actually have now in place a well that they use for washing their car and watering their lawn.
If I'm correct, we don't we don't currently have a regulation like that in our rules, do we?
No, we do
No.
not.
I mean, I'm I hate to be the contrarian, but I don't know why we should put that in our rules. I don't, you know,
That's what I said. They're not, usually it's done by an announcement. There's a water drought on and you've got to stop doing these things. But the inspector's going to find it anyway. We hope that there can't be any cross connection in the system anyway.
what I'm kind of getting at is that, you know, we don't have a water shortage in Wellfleet.
Not
You know,
if
I think we always want to recommend that people conserve water, but
And I think that, Kurt, the expectation is that we have to get that message out there to conserve water. And if one way we can do that is by encouraging people not to have automated water systems that are
That's right.
connected to, that at least are not connected to the town
The
municipal
town
water
Right.
system.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with recommending that they don't do that. I do have a little bit of a problem with a prohibition. Because some people may not have a choice, and it, you know, if we had a water shortage or if we were short of capacity, I would be completely in favor of it. What we're in short supply of now is revenue, and if somebody's really dumb enough to water their lawn and want to pay those charges, we're not in a position
Sure.
where, you know, where that's a problem for the system at this point. We have way more capacity than we know what to do with.
There's no reason we couldn't add that on at any time from here on out to infinity.
Of course,
Well,
yeah.
Doesn't
If
have to be a rate fee system. We're gonna have enough trouble just discussing the rates.
Well, what about the other towns on the Cape? Do any of them have that regulation?
I don't know. Doug, have you come across that anyplace else?
There are communities that have water bans, but I mean, again, the water ban is usually related to the supply constraints that the town has. In other words, the town doesn't have a lot of water. And, you know, I know communities in Massachusetts that they have perennial bans. It's every summer you cannot, you know, it's odd even or it's prohibited, but
Here on the Cape is what you're saying.
Province has that, watering if you're connected to.
yeah, Provincetown has a big problem. They do not have enough capacity. There are communities that just don't have enough water capacity.
Yeah.
We're not in that situation.
I think
Okay.
they
Well,
don't
it's
leave
not-
the system in place now, I think with the, you know, the recommendations or the outright bans. You know, okay, if you're watering your lawn, you're gonna pay $50 or something,
But
that's what
it's
towns do.
already come up in the public forum, so to speak.
Yeah.
About the need to regulate this. And I know that there are some people who currently feel strongly about this. So either we don't talk about it or,
Be ready to answer though.
right, that we're looking at it, for example.
I'm sure Helen Miranda Wilson will be
Yes.
one of the people leading
Right.
that group. Yeah.
I wouldn't talk about it. You need to sell as much water as you can.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm with, Doug and I are in
I-
the same place. We
We'll
need to
approach
sell.
Do we have a day-to-day metering of how the depth in the wells?
No, currently we don't do you mean the water level in the wells? Not on a daily basis.
Is it just somebody come by and take a
Well, when
reading?
they do it, when they have been pumping, you know, so that whenever they pump,
Oh, then
they
you,
would take the well level.
that would be interesting to have. In other words, there's always charts around.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, and Tom, to your question, Whitewater used to present us data every month on the well levels. And they've been doing it for about 12 years. And over the 12 years, kind of regardless how much water the system uses and sort of regardless of how much rainfall we have, those well levels have you know, been pretty consistent within about 10 feet of each other. And there's no pattern in the data. It doesn't seem to matter how much we withdraw, and it doesn't seem to matter, you know, if there's a lot of rain or not a lot of rain. They kind of bounce around.
The only area where it has shown where there's been a difference in water levels over the course of the season has been in, I believe, the test wells that are, around town, around and like out on the National Seashore. And there are a few on town property as well. But they're not, it's not as, the ones on the town property have not been as significant. There has not been a significant difference
there either.
in the water levels.
Look how much calmer I am now.
So, I am willing to take a stab at some of these questions that may come up and to draft some, what I think would be some appropriate responses that we could use. Like, for example, if this question comes up about what are you going to do about people who want to use the town water for automated watering on their lawns.
Yeah, we can dodge that, but by saying we're using the same system we've used all these years.
If,
We put a ban on, a temporary ban on when needed.
What
I mean,
other
'cause-
questions you think might come up?
I don't know, so I welcome any thoughts on that as to what other questions.
There's gonna be a lot of confusion. Doug's done a nice job here, but there's gonna be a lot of confusion with the rates. Cause they don't really know them now and they know they're getting screwed. It's just human nature, it seems.
Yeah. And to clarify what the inspections are that people, because there's
Yeah.
going to be a fee in there for inspections.
Well, that's required well beyond our rules.
Right, and fees for turning water off or on. Seasonal shut-offs or turn-ons.
But they have that's in place now. And they don't call anyway.
Do we have any idea how many of the 500 or so are seasonal versus year-round?
I think Karen had some
I
number.
don't know.
I don't think there'd be any way to even figure that out, Katri, because the only thing that we have for data is the assessor's database. And so they would be assessing a property tax independent, personal property tax independent of the property tax if the person is a seasonal homeowner. But you'd have to be able to identify a seasonal homeowner through that method who also either has access to water or not. I mean, it's pretty complicated.
That
Right,
even
you
if
wouldn't
they
know what
are,
they're,
even if they are considered a seasonal resident, or if they're paying personal property tax, that doesn't necessarily mean that they shut the water off. in the
or they
winter,
went south for the winter.
Or
Yeah,
they went south, or they're not here on weekends.
right, or whatever, yeah. So, yeah, everybody's got their own season.
Or they may just not vote here.
We don't even have a ballpark idea of what the.
No.
No, we don't.
We could probably
No.
do a little research and go back a couple of years and read all the meter readings at each house.
That's one way of telling, but
But that's just
again,
burdensome.
But it's only two times a year. Meter reading.
Oh, that's true, yeah. I don't know if it even aligns with the seasonal part.
No.
Okay, forget it.
Yeah.
anything else about the presentation?
So what do you think a good show, show would be if you're looking at potentially
Oh, number?
600 people?
You mean to participate in this?
Mm,
Oh, I think we'll be lucky if we have like even 20.
I was thinking
gonna
30
be-
or
I was
40,
gonna be
yeah.
generous and say even if we had 50 or 60 people.
Because we would really want to follow up with survey, I think. If we.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
this
that would
doesn't
be
work,
good to,
The
But I
next
think
step is a survey.
So
put it out as a handout and ask them to drop it off,
So
yeah.
I think that was one of the items that I thought we should be discussing is that how do we get the message out about this public hearing then?
Yeah,
So aside from it going in the newspaper, in the Cape Cod Times, which Karen has scheduled the posting for that to happen.
And the Independent.
And just in the Cape Cod Times.
Why? The Independent has more about
Yes.
Wellfleet than the.
Well,
I
they
was
couldn't
getting
get
both.
the-
We didn't
problem-
make the deadline. You didn't
You
make the deadline. I couldn't get it in. I tried.
There's the other thing is that the Times is an official paper of note.
Yeah, but
They're lousy and they're losing their customer base. You're right. Functionally, the Independent would be, yes,
I mean, they have technical articles in there.
I mean,
every
we
week.
could do, I mean, we may be able to ask for a, not a posting,
right.
but it's some, like a, it's
This
like,
is-
Put an ad in,
An ad, yes. I've seen those in there.
find out how much it is.
It's pretty reasonable.
I mean,
think.
I have just been amazed by what the Independent has done in the short time it's been in
Yes,
business. There's
yes.
no comparison,
well,
none.
Karen, I'll discuss that with you, that this isn't necessarily something that we have to hit the,
No
the
deadline.
schedule,
You're
there's
just
no
gonna buy an ad.
deadline. So if we can get it in, something in within the next few weeks before that meeting, at least so that people can see this.
Right.
That it just gets out that much, we get a much broader
Mhm.
audience.
Reminder.
Do we have a scheduled date?
Oh, he wasn't.
August 18th,
Okay.
7:00.
What
okay.
about putting it on the local access TV?
Yeah, we can
Where's
do
the
that.
money coming from, Doug?
Wait,
We didn't
Karen,
budget for this.
But
Karen-
the local access TV runs ads that's the municipal TV. It's easy. You just
Yeah.
put in a
Facebook.
notice and they'll put up a notice. It's a public
Yeah.
service. It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, should be free.
It is free.
Exactly.
The other thing, Jim, if it's okay with the rest of the board, I'll send a note to the forum, so that can go out to the forum's email distribution list, which is fairly extensive. And I can also send it to the president of the Seasonal Residents Association.
right?
Between the two of those, that's a fairly significant distribution townwide.
What about the chamber?
I was just thinking that, yes.
Hit as many organizations as you possibly.
The chamber's on the foreign distribution list. I
Okay,
mean, we can send something to them. I don't know if they would send something out to their members. I mean, we
Yeah,
can
they-
ask them.
They have a spot on Facebook where they make announcements.
So what this announcement is going to be called?
Public hearing on water rate changes.
Can we, it sounds like you've already thought about what should be in that
Announcement.
announcement, Kurt. You want to send something out to us so that we can also assist with this?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's public hearing regarding changes to Wellfleet's water rates.
And impacting both the current as well as future customers.
Yes, that's an important issue.
Are we going to discuss the connection fees at this meeting?
You mean the 750? Well, that's not.
We have all of them. We have the meters, the inspection. I thought we had general agreement on those. Is there something else that we hadn't really talked about at our last meeting?
The only question I have is, what about for larger connection sizes? Somebody who's, who wants a 2 or 3 inch line. Are you going to recommend a higher rate than the 750?
I think that's a call if you need further details things.
Well, they're going to pay, Doug, they're going to pay, they're going to pay whatever the meter charge is for those
Right.
larger size
Yeah.
meters.
But they should be paying a higher connection fee as well.
Well, they're paying additional fees for the inspections, because I think they're gonna have multiple, generally they'll have multiple inspections required.
Right.
No, what I'm saying is,
Curb stop's gonna have to be bigger, so I just say call for details on external costs.
I think.
I think what Doug's referring to is the system development fee, which doesn't have anything to do with the specific charges.
correct.
Because they're going to pay the specific charges for, a meter pit, the meter, anything specific to the installation, they're going to be paying that anyway. I think Doug's question is whether we should also have a different system development fee as well.
Right, because
Is
your
it-
750 is
Just
for one
gulch the cost of the
connection.
curb. I don't know how we justify that.
Well, one thing I think you need to add is, as well as discussing the new rates and charges for future connections, I think that has to be included. For one thing, I think it would draw additional people.
Oh, right, no,
No, that's true, yeah.
I didn't quite hear the last part of Catri's comment.
I like the idea of, besides the new rates, it's and charges for, additional installation. Or whatever term you want to use for that, connection, new connection, and for future connections.
Connection costs. whatever.
Yeah, I think that's got to be included. Because that's the biggest drawback. I mean, going from 120 something to 150 something, it's an issue, but it's not quite like going from
6,000.
$6,000 to $750. That's a big.
Yeah,
So-
but that's a big advantage. We've got to tell them that it's not a giveaway. I think that's what we're mentioning here, is that there will be costs associated with the,
So what we're basically, we're not calling it a system, or not calling it a connection fee anymore.
right,
It is a system development fee.
And you can do something as simple as the $750 is for a 1-inch connection. And that's what you're going to tap is a 1-inch connection. So if you tap a 2-inch, you could say that it's times 2, 1,500. If it's a 3-inch, it would be
it goes up logarithmic.
2,250. If it's a 4-inch, it would be 3,000.
I think you're on to
We're
something.
gonna need a larger main.
Doug, I think you're on to something there. I like that. Quote the fee for the meter and transmitter and curb stop valve at 1 inch, larger sizes, market price. Like, I don't know what word you want, but like they do in the restaurant. You get a lobster, pound lobster for this price, and if
Well,
larger,
that's already being addressed when we have the meters and inspections. This is just for the ability to connect to the system.
right? I
It gives
agree.
you,
but
it gives
we're
you nothing else but the ability at some point in the future to tie
Right.
into this system.
But that's a big change, and
But-
it's something we should.
Right, I
present.
think
We don't have
Catherine,
to emphasize it, but it definitely have to present it in such
that
a
there's
way that
plus
people are
fees
aware of it. Yeah.
or plus costs associated.
But I don't have a problem with saying, okay, for that base it on meter size,
Yes.
that if it's a
Okay, put it that way.
1
just
inch, it's a
based on meter
750. 2-inch, it's 1,500.
Kurt, you're
Right.
shaking your
That's
head.
what the details.
Yeah,
Larger
because
size.
I just don't, I'm having trouble figuring out how you justify the difference in the fees. There's not a lot of other communities that have anything like that. I mean, I think P-Town, it goes, P-Town is one of the few places where they actually do have different charges for the system development, system development fee. But most of the other communities, it's kind of, they're trying to get people connected. They keep the connection fees as low as possible to get
But
people
we're
on.
But
We're doing
Kurt,
the
I would say
$5,000
that-
cut.
the number of instances where we're going to be doing a meter more than a 1-inch meter are very limited. I don't see that the town that we're going to be expanding that many businesses.
I think we should be prepared to answer that question. But I also think we shouldn't bring it up.
What, bring up the connection fee?
No, what do you call, which fee is the connection fee?
Well,
I'm saying the cost of the meter and the cost of they should be mentioned that there will be meter costs.
Right.
We have a whole schedule, Tom, I didn't mean to cut you off, Tom. There's a whole schedule for those. You know, there's a sheet of paper for every single meter size.
I know that's
Yeah.
for, but at the meeting, so I think we should say plus the cost of the meters. Or because it's not a hookup charge, a fee and all this stuff. It's an actual, we're selling them a piece of equipment. That's how I should say. Those
Right.
fees are there, those charges are there, but I don't think we should bring it up to more than that. Just say plus connection, or the whatever we
System
want to call it.
development fee.
yeah, I think you really, no, I disagree. I think you need to come up with a number that people are aware of. What, we're not calling it a connection fee. It is a connection
Right,
fee.
right.
We can name it another way, but to people, it's a connection fee.
Right.
I mean, we might even want to change the name of that, but whatever.
We've already attached to the $750.
It's called system development fee.
Is that what the 750 is called?
Yes.
Well, why not connection fee?
The hardware fee. I don't know what, but
It's
you
not
know
hardware.
that's not even going to come up.
It's the,
Oh, I think it will.
it's the
Nah.
fee that's associated with the cost of infrastructure that's going into the
Right.
system.
That isn't going to help them any.
I know, but the difference being that if you say connection fee, it's not
It's gonna get-
associated with your actual connection.
Connection,
You're
correct.
able to connect to the system.
Okay.
Plus hardware costs, but I think Doug or Jim is right. I doubt that there's anybody that's going to worry about or even think of the size of the valve they're hooking to or the size of the meter they're going to need. When they call in, Karen explains it to them that your recommendation.
That's
Come on,
funny.
Karen.
Yeah,
With that smile and laugh, you can talk them into anything. No,
I'm
with
not
that-
doing it, Tom. You're dreaming in
Okay,
color.
well-
I am not taking those
Oh.
hostile calls. Nope, not
Okay.
doing it.
So here's what you do. Say, we're sending you the form to fill
I'm
out.
giving you the phone numbers and you deal with them. I'm not doing it.
No,
You do
no
it.
phone.
I'll give them your number and your email.
Okay.
I think we need a
And
simple.
your firstborn.
Okay, I think I know what you're looking for. I'll put a schedule together. And then I'll send it off to everyone and you can mark it up or comment
Right.
on it or say roll with it. And
Yeah,
we'll get that incorporated
No, that won't.
into the presentation.
Or just before the show.
I wanted to say to this though, that I don't have a problem with a higher system development fee for a commercial property. Because it's a different situation with an individual residence that, or a two-family residence that's on a 1-inch meter.
Now, we all think about these things, but I think that people just that are on water systems, they have no idea what size meter they have. They have no idea what size pipe they have, valves they have. And I don't think anyone is going to ask that until it comes down to, well, what's it going to cost me? And when you fill out the permit,
Right, well,
and
they,
that's they can find out then. If they can always say, "Holy cow!" Never mind. It's all they have to do is not mail in the.
It's not a
but
lot.
what Jim is saying is most people that would be connecting at the $750.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
so
that's
just
less
Yeah.
than-
The issue there is, and I think we do have to have something in, we do have to have a policy. We do have to have something in writing.
Right, but we don't have.
Clearly the people that are connecting that are above an inch, is a commercial style customer. My only heartburn is, with Doug's specific numbers of double it to 2 and double it to, 1.5 again to 3 or double it to 3 or 4. My concern there is that those customers still have a choice of either continuing to stay on a well or connect to the system. And when you get those fees up into the $1,500 to $3,000 range, that's a non-starter for especially a business. They're just going to say, no, why should I bother?
Oh, for the
Well,
business.
I don't know about that, Kurt, because if it's a business that's serving customers where there's a lot of water usage, and they need a larger meter, they're potentially facing more frequent inspections
Yeah,
and also more frequent testing and in a relationship with DEP that they wouldn't have if they're on the water system.
right. But my issue there is that I don't disagree with anything you just said. The problem is, or where we make money is, if you look at the second and third blocks of our water rates, they're off the charts. So the customers that we're talking about connecting are going to be paying like $5,000 a year in water fees. And I'm thinking, for example, like 3,500 to 5,000 was the typical bill for restaurants. So that's looking at Moby Dick's, it's looking at the Pearl, looking at the bookstore, looking at, I happen to have some usage numbers from those locations. And if we can get some of those customers to connect, that's a substantial amount of revenue. And if the connection fees get out of control, or I shouldn't characterize them as out of control, but when they're significantly higher than the hassle of maintaining DEP testing and inspections and so on, we just don't get those customers on the system. I'm not opposed to having a higher fee. I think we need to be sensitive, though, to what the market conditions are.
But here's the deal. This is a one-time charge. They're not gonna ever have put that meter in. I mean, within reason. But so there's that.
They're gonna pay for the meter. They're gonna pay for the meter no matter what.
Right. But that's a one-time charge to pay for the meter. They're not gonna pay that every month, every 6 months, every year, nothing. They bought the meter's there.
So we're not talking, Tom, we're not talking about the meter. We're talking about the system, the system development fee. They're gonna pay for the meter, and that's, in a 1 inch, the 2 inch quote that we got for the special meter, those meter prices get very expensive.
Yes, they
And
are.
when you tack on top of that a system development fee of an additional, $2,000, suddenly you've got just the.
What do they get for that fee?
For what? System development?
Yeah.
Well, and-
What's the $750?
well,
Well, what Doug's suggesting is that we increase that 750 to something different when it's above an inch.
No, but the cost of the meter, that and the transmitter and the curb stop, that goes up. The rest of it doesn't. We're going to go to the trailer park. What are you going to do? Charge everybody there $2,000 for a 2 inch meter?
No.
When they call up, want to hook up, you say, these are the rates. We're talking about the rates now, not the hookup charge. You're going to have to call a plumber anyway. You're going to have to do all those things. You're going to have to get a plumber to hook it up. You're going to have to get a plumber to disconnect your well. Those are outside costs. They're not our fees.
I mean, Doug, to make it simple, I mean, for the board's benefit, I don't have a problem if it's like, we charge 1,500 if it's over an inch or something like that to get something more for it. I just,
You want
You
just
know what I'm
call it
saying?
You want to just call it commercial?
yeah, I think so.
And you want to call it, you want to say 1,500?
That's
Yeah,
just
if you
gonna-
double it, so basically that's if you're above an inch, connection, but I don't think we want to get those too out of control.
well,
Okay. I mean,
ask what do they get? And I just want to remind everybody what they're getting when they connect to the system. They're not just getting, municipal water, access to town water. They're getting the assurance that they're going to have water when they need it.
Yeah.
That the system is not going to fail where they can't run their business. Those things are really important to some, and they don't have to deal with DEP with regard to routine
yeah.
testing because they're no longer considered a public water supply.
Right.
We're the public water supply.
So they're paying for those services. It has nothing to do with the physical parts. And I think those physical parts just should be sold to them on a cost plus basis. Everyone's going to be different anyway. And there's only going to be 5 out of the 300 or something.
Yeah.
And so bringing it up at the meeting is just gonna throw a whole,
But we could put it, we can build it into the regs and say, okay, it's not 750. If you need a larger meter, that system development fee is gonna
well, I
be
think we could,
double. It's 50.
but I'm worried about the meeting right now.
Right.
We have to have these costs someplace in there where it says how these costs are covered. But I don't think you ought to bring it up.
If the question gets raised,
We'll
we
be
can
aware.
answer.
Well, meters and parts are going to be cost plus 10%. We agreed to that two or
Very
three
good.
meetings ago.
Right.
That's why we hire you professionals, Doug.
And so if, if the cost of the meter does go up, that way we're covered.
Yeah.
Right,
Cost plus 10%.
yes.
I think for the physical parts, I think we're all set. The issue that I think we have to address is what do we do if for a system development fee, if the connection size is larger than an inch?
Nothing. Why does it make a difference?
No, I'm saying it would
Well,
instead of.
Jim's saying we should charge more. You're saying we shouldn't. I don't know how other people feel.
Because what we're paying for, no. What
I'm
we're
saying
paying,
we should. So
Well,
what would be great
700
is to try to get some consensus around
no,
something that we
if
think is reasonable.
750 if 750 is too cheap, we should discuss that. But it doesn't cost us any more to bill somebody for a 2-inch valve than it does to bill a supply system. They've already paid for the meter and the valve and the transmitter. It doesn't cost any more to run them. That cost is a one-time cost.
But it does cost you more because if you have somebody who wants a 3-inch connection, you have to have the ability to provide them with a greater amount of water than if they just
Well,
wanted.
that's why we
one
charge more for
connection.
the water.
No, but
Water
up
would be
front,
about enough.
I think that it makes sense to have, if it's a larger meter, that the system development fee be increased, whether it's doubled, whatever, that's the way, because they are advantages, like I was saying.
Well,
The
all
adva-
those advantages apply to a 1-inch line or a 3-inch line.
But you, as a resident, as you're not subject to routine testing from DEP. You don't have the cost associated with
That's
that.
true.
You don't have to do the paperwork associated with that. We do it for you. So for somebody who has a business that they're currently paying those fees, they're currently paying inspections.
Yeah, but when you inspect your well for the water, our well, you inspect it for my 1-inch main and you inspect it for it doesn't cost any more.
But it's not necessarily for that. We're talking about the ongoing costs associated with
You may be saving costs for the
it's an
customer.
operating cost in a way that's cost, not for us,
No,
but it's an operating cost that they no longer have to
right.
pay.
Just because we're saving them money, I don't think it's a justification for charging them more.
Well, we do, I think.
I don't, Jim, I think there's a trade-off though, Jim. I think, those customers are going to they're a single meter customer and they're automatically going to get into the very high commodity charges, the second block and the third block.
Yeah.
They're the over 85,000 gallon or over 60,000 gallon type customers. So they're going to be paying a lot more. And that's justified based on the fact that there's more energy associated with pumping that water. So we're collecting a lot of money on that commodity charge. Our second and third block rates are really, really high relative to anybody else on Cape Cod. So I'm not so concerned about, covering those costs. I think there is still an argument that, Doug raised that you still have to have more capacity for a customer that's connecting that wants more capacity. We have it, so it's not like we don't have it and we're going to have to make investments to get it. But I just think it'd be easier if we just kind of, made it simple, because I don't know how you come up with a rationale, but just call it a customer or call it a commercial customer. And Instead of 750, charge 1,500, for a commercial connection larger than an inch. And then we could be done with it.
That
Yeah.
because, I mean, it's going to be hard for us to talk about, well, the commercial fee up to this point was not 6,000, it was 9,600.
Yep.
Or,
So then we're doing kind of a proportionate change in that fee.
So you're gonna come up with a different heading then, or a modified heading that would expand slightly?
this, I like the term system development fee,
Okay.
replacing and not using connection.
No,
Yeah,
but bringing that into the title, not just about the charge for the water fees, but also the charge for
For the system development.
system development, yes. Yeah. Okay,
That's what other communities are calling it, is something like that, to separate it from the actual costs of the connection.
which
Right.
you pay with your own plumber. Okay, get ready to.
But I think, Jim, even at 1,500, when you start to factor in what it's going to cost them in engineering and all the other physical costs associated with the meter, the piping, the connection to the main, et cetera. Even at 1,500, you're going to start to push those total connection costs into the, $5,000 and $7,000 range,
But for
especially
what,
between. Go ahead.
I'm saying, for what kinds of businesses would that happen?
For people that are making connections above an inch,
But who would be doing that, Kurt?
businesses, and typically, right.
what's the bookstore now?
A restaurant would possibly have a larger connection than a 1 inch.
True, but I mean, the reality is, if they do, and it's not a current business, I mean, where do we have a situation like that now? Or do we anticipate that they're going to be, a lot more or more interest in more restaurants that
Well,
would.
I think we have-
Harbor Village would be the first one. And if
Yeah, but
the low-income housing comes in, they would be a larger
Yeah, but-
connection size as well.
Wait a minute,
Yeah.
where's the businesses? What size valve does a bookstore have now? Does anyone know?
They probably have a 1 inch connection.
No,
No,
it's
really?
more than that. I believe it's at least a 2.
That's big. 2 is big. But the meter prices jump up there.
Yeah, the meter price gets expensive. There's 3 restaurants on the Coles Neck expansion loop. You've got Moby Dick's, you have the Box Lunch, you have Flying Fish, all of whom want to connect.
I would say that for
And potentially Outer Cape.
Box Lunch and Flying Fish would in all likelihood be 1 inch connection.
Yes. Yeah, they're small.
Maybe we should just say larger than 1 inch connection, 1,500, and keep
Right.
it generic.
Yeah, let it go at that.
That
for
works
now.
for me.
That-
Okay,
That might be less controversial.
yeah, I think that's fine. I just don't think we want to get complicated here. I think,
Yeah,
Oh, no, but Katrina's right, though. It's a good to count for that, because that's gonna come up. If not at the meeting, it's gonna come up when somebody fills out a form to get the water.
I think that covers it so that if other board members agree with Doug's suggestion, I certainly do. Above 1 inch at 1,500, I think at least we've got a complete schedule. So if anybody's calling in, they can, Karen doesn't have to figure it out.
Right, no, that should be,
So let's take a roll call vote on that. It would be the system development fee / connection fee would be 750 for a 1 inch meter. And
Or
for
less.
that,
15.
it would be 1,500.
1-inch connection.
So moved.
Wait a minute, let's see.
Second,
I got, okay. Tom,
Aye.
Catherine,
Jim, I didn't hear the motion. Can you just say it again?
it was for connection fee or / system development fee. For with a 1-inch meter, it would be $750. For anything larger than a 1-inch meter, it would be 1,500.
So can I just rephrase that?
Sure.
So I would move that the system development fee for a meter of 1 inch or less is $750. And the system development fee for greater than 1 inch would be $1,500.
well, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
Right.
I just wanted to keep it in system development fee and not use the words connection fee.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Fine.
Yep, and I just want to clarify that it shouldn't be for a 1-inch meter, it should be for a 1-inch connection.
Good. Right.
Yes,
Don't use
The
the word
connection-
meter. The word is connection, not meter.
correct. Yes, 1 inch connection.
And I'll work up a schedule for all the costs and get that out to you tomorrow
Okay.
for
Good.
everyone to review.
Thanks, Doug.
So we need to take a vote.
Go ahead.
Tom,
Aye.
Catherine,
Aye.
Neil,
Aye.
Kurt,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well.
That was good.
Done on that. So now, I think we pretty much covered what were the presentation.
Yeah.
I said that Kurt has offered to write up or put together just an announcement about the public hearing that we can use
We can use as an
as
ad
a-
or.
for an
Or a
ad,
mailing or
so-
whatever.
and then we can share that. So, and Karen, I will work with you with regard to what we can get in the independent and how we will pay for that. So don't worry about that.
This can't be over a couple of bucks.
No, it's not.
They're pretty reasonable.
Jim, is there going to be another meeting before the public hearing?
That was what I wanted to ask. If I think that the hearing is on the 18th,
Thursday,
which is a Thursday.
so we should meet on Tuesday.
So we can either meet the Tuesday before or the week before that, whatever.
Tuesday
Um,
before.
I would prefer the week before that.
that?
Just
Which
so
one?
that if we need to make changes to the presentation, we're not scurrying.
So today,
I'm not here on the 9th.
9th is,
Well, how about the Thursday before? Does anybody have a problem with Thursdays? I know I
Would
like,
that be the 10th?
I like, doing that Tuesdays. That's good for,
Be the 11th.
Thursday
Yeah.
would be the 11th.
don't have anything scheduled for Tuesday.
Thursday, it's the 18th, it would be the 11th, right? Thursday, the 11th?
so you're saying, Karen, you're not here on the 9th.
Yep.
So,
That's a Tuesday.
yeah, I mean, if the 11th works, we could do it on the 11th, which is a week before the
Meeting, that's good.
meeting.
Okay, I'm on the road that day, but I can dial in.
Well, we could consider other times.
Just pick a time. If you're gonna do it Thursday, pick a time and I'll make sure that I'm on the call. And you'll have the presentation long beforehand.
Yeah,
Good.
I'd say the Thursday, the 11th is fine.
What time?
I think a regular
Regular
time,
time.
if that's okay,
4
Doug.
p.m.
Yeah.
Yep, we'll make it work.
Okey-doke.
Thank you. Good work so far.
Now we want the minutes.
Oh,
We just say, yes, we accept.
I don't know,
There were 4 sets of minutes or 5 sets.
didn't we?
So the 11th at 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 5 sets of minutes.
5 sets of minutes.
Can we lump them in one?
No, you need to do them separately.
Does anybody have any problems? Can we lump the
I
questions?
went through them,
And you
so,
amended some, right?
They amended 3 of them.
oh, that's right, did you send out the amended ones, Karen?
Yeah,
Yes?
Somebody
yes,
just-
I did.
Okay, the amended ones reflected the changes that were presented to me.
Yeah.
So,
You're
I
all
sent
set
them
with
all
me, correct?
yes,
Yeah.
we are. Thank you, Doug.
Thanks,
Okay,
guys.
I'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Doug.
Doug.
Okay, so does anybody have any objections to the minutes that were presented?
I'll trust you.
So let's see the
I
dates.
actually read this one.
So let's go through them
My
then.
emails.
Yes.
So the minutes of May 17th as amended. I hear a motion.
I move.
Second,
Roll call, Tom,
Aye.
Catherine,
Aye.
Neil,
aye,
Kurt,
Aye.
and I vote aye. The meeting of June 7th as amended.
The ayes.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
second,
Neil seconded. Tom,
Aye.
Catherine,
Aye.
Neil,
aye,
Kurt,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Okay. The meeting of June 21st as amended. Do I hear a motion?
so moved,
Second,
Second.
Tom,
Aye.
Catherine,
Aye.
Neil,
aye,
Kurt,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Okay. And the meeting of June 28th. That was not amended.
No.
Want to hold that?
I want to
Yeah.
hold that. I would like to hold that. And the meeting of July 12th, I'd like to hold as well.
Very good.
So we're good there. So for the 17th, the 7th, and the 21st, Karen, those are approved unanimously. So our next meeting then is on the 17th,
No,
No.
11th,
11th.
sorry, it's the 11th of August. Anything else that we need to bring up?
I don't think so.
Kurt, when do you think-
Whitewater wants to know when you're gonna have them at the next meeting.
I'm sorry?
Whitewater would like to know when you're gonna have them at their next, at a meeting.
I would say it probably won't be until September now.
Okay, just FYI, they're gonna fill the propane tank. He thinks it's like 400 gallons now that the generator's working.
You mean the one at the Boy Scout camp?
Yeah,
Can, is it out of propane?
it's down 500 gallons or so.
Yeah, I would,
It
I
holds
would,
1,000 and they're gonna put
Yeah.
in, they're gonna fill it.
I would suggest that they wait at least a month because propane prices and gas prices are plummeting right now. And they're gonna be lower. I would almost guarantee they're gonna be lower in September. And
gonna
that's
hold
not an
it.
emergency to fill it.
No, Kurt will pay all of our propane bills.
If it goes up, you'll
goes
pay
up.
though, right?
Yeah, I'll pay. No, I mean, these fuel prices are dropping like a rock right now, so I would be very uncomfortable paying. I think we'd be paying a very high price for propane if we filled it now. I'd
So
wait
do
till-
it on the 30th of September?
Well,
Well, yeah, I would say, toward the end of August or beginning of September would be better.
You know how often we fill
it hasn't been
All right.
filled.
No, it hasn't been filled, and that's a lot of propane.
I know, and it's a big cost.
Yeah, that's a huge cost. That's basically at current propane rates, it's like,
$3.
yeah, I was gonna say it's about $3 times like
500.
600.
400.
Yeah, so it's that's $1,200 to just top it off.
So I think that we can tell Jonathan when they could go ahead with that. We don't necessarily have
I told him the 15th, September 15th, to refill the propane tank. All right?
Could we schedule a volume check someplace between now and then? See, we have an unknown rate that we're burning it.
We don't burn it. It's only backup. It's for the backup generator.
That just got fixed.
Right, that's why I say we have no idea of what we're gonna use.
Yeah.
So,
'Cause it's gonna turn on to exercise it, and we may actually have a thunderstorm, so I'd like to see some
we
numbers.
may have a power outage.
Yeah.
We have them this time of year.
So,
Usually.
Karen, will, I would say let's hold off for, at least for a few weeks on that. If it's under $1,500, that we should be able to cover that expense. All right, any further business?
Not right now. I think we did well today.
All right, so, so here a motion,
Motion to adjourn.
motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
So moved, and I heard in a second.
Yes.
So, Tom,
Yes,
Catherine,
Aye.
Neil,
Aye.
Kurt,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Thank you very much.
Good meeting, everyone.
yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having us, Jim. I
No
hope we
problem.
have our meeting